Welcome to Memoirs of a Fitness Trainer podcast. I am your host, Ryan Tullis, joined by my forever co-host, the one and the only Mr. Tyler Johnson. And today we have a guest, the one, the only 𝐵𝐒. I'm positive that I got that wrong. My guy here has nearly a decade's worth of training experience. His background's in prehab. He's done some work with chiropractics before, and he is a whiz for Olympic lifting. He is your guy. So, 𝐵𝐒, go ahead and say hi, introduce yourself, give your spiel, see what you got.
Hey, yeah. I just want to say thank you, Tyler and Ryan, for having me on the show. I am very happy to be here right now on a Friday, 7 p.m. And I actually mean it.
Good.
That was a joke.
We're happy to have you here, man.
We're stoked to have you, man. Thanks for coming aboard.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I've been training for a decade, and what got me started was actually being a high school athlete, and I always wanted to perform better. And I knew there was more to just being able to, sprint 100 meters, run 1,600, or, like being able to do like more than 20 push-ups. Like I knew there was more to those movements. And, the more I hung out at gyms and training studios, the more I was picking the brains of the older trainers. This is me in high school. And through that, I was able to get a little bit better, and that's what kind of got me started. And
Yeah.
a long time ago. Yep.
So what was the primary sports? Like what was your main go-to athletics?
I always wanted to play football. I always wanted to be one of the guys that could just like hit, but my legs were fast and I was really good at cross country, and I became a cross country runner, and I fell in love with the sports, being up in nature. That's right. So absolutely.
There we go. I messed around with some cross country myself. It was how we offset wrestling, and I have some fond memories with it. Some harrowing ones too, like your feet bleeding and all that good jazz. But that's a tough sport, man. Oh, dude, you start getting like into the 50, 60, 70 miles a week club.
Yeah.
Things start falling off. Your feet are not meant to run like that. At least mine weren't.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm just adding on like a mile, and I'm just hitting up like 2.5 miles here and there, and I'm just starting running at 13 years old. I couldn't imagine doing like cross country. So cross country was just one of your primary ones. Your frame now doesn't say much of the cross country. Like when did that are you still running like that? Are you still kind of training in that atmosphere, or did you kind of hit a switch at some point?
𝐵𝐒, just so you know, we don't body shame here. Tyler's opinions are his own.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in the Coast Guard, and when I was in the Coast Guard, I kept my running, but I started putting on size because we needed to eat a lot of food, a lot of calories, because we would work 8, 12, 14-hour days, and we would be on duty all week and have liberty on the weekends. So that's when I kind of started putting on some size.
Nice.
I noticed that it would help me out a lot being on the boats,
Right.
with that. And, fast forward a few years, I actually, for some reason, I just like woke up this week and I was just like, I need to go back into that, like that feeling when you hit the mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, and then you just sit back and you're drinking that cold water and you're like, man, this is the best tasting water for today. And
good feeling.
It's a great feeling, and I want to be able to feel that so I can kind of like relate to some of my clients also that currently aren't able to run because of back issues, joint pain. So I want to be able to be like, you know what, let me do this now, because one day I may be in that position, and I don't want to look back and be like, why did I do that? So I signed up for the San Francisco Half Marathon. That's happening on July 28th.
Nice.
And I have 7 weeks to train for that. And I'm going to clean up my diet, log in some miles, do all the necessary, workouts, and then just go all in. So
okay.
there you go.
Well, that brings me to actually a really good question. is how important, in your opinion, do you feel it is for a trainer to be able to relate to what their client's going through?
Oh, I think it's very important. It's,
Okay.
the pains that you feel on your shins after wearing the wrong shoes, after they're worn out after 400 miles, and you don't do your stretches correctly, and you have a client telling you how they feel, and then you're just trying to guess the pain. I think it's almost impossible to understand them unless you've gone through it with it. Um, a lot of clients are sedentary, right? And we all feel the pain sometimes, like our hips get tight and you stretch our backs a little bit, our glutes. So relating to your client from personal experience is very important.
I agree with that. And Tyler, do you, in your opinion, do you feel that a trainer can train someone in a sport that they themselves haven't at least tried to compete competitively in?
No, 100%. I've never been in a competitive rower, yet I took a kid that was in high school that was I've talked about this guy before. Took a high school kid that was like a rower. I knew nothing about rowing, but I know the ideas of just body mechanics. And I took that kid and he ended up getting accepted to Yale after he increased his power outlet on rowing. And he taught me more about rowing than I even knew about rowing on a concept too. But I mean, you don't necessarily have to be a part of the sport. I'm sure there's a lot more like what is that not tenacity. There's a lot more that somebody who has done this sport could bring to it, but you can still do some of the training, but experience is experience, right? Like it's somebody who has been educated to be a personal trainer. Like let's take our field for example. I know we'll talk about this with Julio too. Is you can take somebody who's been educated in personal training, has gotten their NASM, maybe has a bachelor's degree in physiology, has done everything, but hasn't worked with a single client. I wouldn't trust them with somebody out on the floor, like versus somebody who has none of those things, but maybe has 15 years experience. Be like, okay, I'm probably gonna go for the guy with experience. Like that's how members are gonna look at it. It's not always gonna be true, but I'm just saying like it is more important that you do have experience. So experience in a certain particular sport to be able to take that like life experience and say, hey, when you're hitting mile 7, this is what you're going to start feeling. Like this is like the things that might go through your head. And here's the things you got to overcome. Like I could see how that could be helpful. It's probably like essentially probably one of the reasons why Ryan here went and did a bodybuilding competition. So he could be like, yeah, this is the excruciating pain that all those people had to go through. I don't know if I'm ever going to do a physique competition because I don't like being without food, without like on that deficit. Wrestling was a long time ago, and I don't want to go back to that ever.
Oh, it's so different. Like cutting weight for wrestling is 2 weeks of real suffering.
Yeah,
Bodybuilding's like your last like 8 to 10 weeks of that thing is just wow, it's July and I'm freezing. I stood up too fast and I fell over. I'm hungry, but I'm so tired that I don't want to eat, but I know I should eat. And I'm stressed for no reason. I'm sad for no reason. It's that last 8 weeks. Sweet God, does that put some hair on your chest?
yeah.
But taking it back to our original point, because as I just went down memory lane and might have had a PTSD moment. All right, I agree with that, Tyler. I don't know what's going on over there with you, bud, but that's okay. It's on me. But I do agree with you that a good trainer or a good coach that works with people and kind of takes a science into it can train someone for something that they themselves haven't necessarily competed in. But devil's advocate, and I think I'm going to circle more back around to Julio's side here, is I do believe that that last bit that, all right, you've trained the rower, you've taken him to that high level, you've applied the basics of physiology and progressive overload, like training's training. But to coach someone like, hey, this is what you're going to need to be doing when you're cold. This is how you're going to prep for this thing. All those little experience pieces that come with, hey, I've been a rower out in Boston rowing in the water. It's like I know what that feels like.
Right.
Julio, any points on that, my man?
No, absolutely. There's two ways to look at this. The initial start is what level of athlete are you going to be training?
That's a
And
great point.
are you going to be the right coach? And you have to be honest with yourself first so that you can be honest with the athlete so that they can get the most, and it's very okay for me to be like, you know what, I am not 100% able to train you in your wrestling, but Tyler is the right guy for you. And I want you to train with him 3 times a week for the next summer, and you're going to be in great shape, and that's, I think, a good level of professionalism that, I don't know if a lot of people talk about it, but it has to be done.
No,
Yeah.
that's a great point. I recently had this actually happen to me. I had somebody approach me because they had a woman who was, I think she was from, God, what is going on? Why do I keep like getting darker?
It's your screens in the background, bro.
Is it the screens? The screens behind me are turning
Yeah, it's
on?
catching up on the lighting and it's adjusting for that. So you
Oh,
you have to have a consistent lighting in your background, otherwise your camera's going to keep going back and forth on you.
seriously. All right. Time out for me. Why don't you guys go do that? I'm gonna get something.
Cool.
You guys gotta
No, but I
stop
agree
doing
with
that.
you there, Julio. That's, I think, one of the marks that differentiates a trainer from, or we'll say a paper trainer, someone that's a personal trainer by just that piece of paper they have, not in something they actually care about. Differentiates that person from, say, a coach or a good trainer is, hey, I know what I don't work with.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Good. Is
Uh,
there anything that you don't work with? I mean, obviously we just talked about wrestling, but is there any type of classification you're like, hey, no, I just don't mess with it, even though you might be able to? It's just, all right, that's not my wheelhouse.
Okay.
well, the beginning of my training, I had a really good mentor, and it was like 2 years of work, um, and I picked up on a lot of things that she was able to do. Right, we would train together, we would talk all the time, and I would shadow her training sessions. So I was able to pick up a lot of knowledge on how to teach people exercises, and that everyone learns differently. And a good trainer is someone who can teach different people and and make it about the client, and their lifestyle. Um, that's something that I picked up. Being able to teach someone something that I'm not confident in will motivate me to learn. And maybe in the future, I'll be fortunate enough to have the opportunity again to train them or someone differently. Uh, I see it as motivation to open the book and start learning.
Smart. Tyler and I have talked about that topic a number of times. That a lot of times, like for me, for instance, rehab was not something I touched with a 20-foot pole for like the first like 5 years of my career. You came in with a sprained ankle. I'm like, nah, we don't touch this. Go to somebody else.
Yeah.
But eventually it was getting someone that I was the only person that could work with them and going, oh, you need my help. I need to grow in my profession right now. Otherwise, I can't help you. Well, that sucks. Now I have to learn. That's, dude. I mean, so far, I mean, we're only like what 15 minutes into this thing, and I'm rather impressed with your outlook on training and the mindset that you have. It's cool,
Yeah, dude,
man.
your
Thank you,
philosophy that
guys.
you've kind of adopted was this philosophy that you've kind of adopted with your approach to like talking about how you'll be able to pass somebody off to a trainer. Is that your upbringing is just like you had great parents and you just like learned how to be very giving? Was that something you took from being in the Coast Guard? Was that from your peer when you were first starting out as a trainer? Like, where did you adopt this kind of mentality from?
It must have been going back to high school. Start running in middle school, and I happened to be like the fastest kid coming in, but there was always that one person that really wanted to finish the PE class. And maybe they were a little bit shy to come out of the locker room. So I was always the guy who would be like, "Hey, come on, let's hang out. Let's run together. I'll come back, and I'll walk with you." It kind of builds from there. And for me, giving is so rewarding, and you just feel good about it. Not getting anything in return. Um, and luckily, I was able to I'm able to do it through exercise.
Hmm. I see you have that tattoo sleeve going on. Is your heart on there too? Because it seems like you wear your heart on your sleeve.
It probably
You like
is,
that?
man.
You like that one? You like that?
That was a good one.
We got jokes here, dude.
That's
Dude,
that's
that's a
Tyler.
solid.
That's a
Yeah,
good
dude.
one.
I gotta add like a dad joke here and there. Dude, I mean that's amazing. That's a great philosophy to have. Like I remember my first guru, the person that I looked up to, it was this woman and she had a just great business model and I emulated her. So it's always great to have peers. Ryan is actually one of my peers because he actually hired me on to work with him a long time ago. Way back in the way land of lifetime athletics. But
Many
Ryan,
moons.
Nice.
do you remember kind of learning when you were kind of like walking around like at a gym? Was there a certain specific time period that you ever adopted a philosophy like similar to like what Julio's talking about? Or did you just kind of learn on your own? Don't be a dick.
That is someone that's known me too long. Um, so I learned from like I came up in my career when the advent of social media and all of that was kind of like really starting. Like that was like the 2010, 2011 era where like YouTube was really kicking off and people were really starting to turn out like a lot of training content. And I was really fortunate to train at a gym where one of these bigger influencers kind of was. So I was kind of able to pick their brain as well as kind of watch their content and kind of adopt their philosophy that way. That was the training group 3DMJ, Three Dudes Muscle Journey. It's a bodybuilding group. It's just practical application. We don't care in the fringe. We don't care about like, oh, you have one study. That's cool. Come back when you have 30. Then we'll apply these things. And I was really fortunate to see them in their craft and to be able to learn from them. And it just kind of took my entire mindset around you have a responsibility to your clients to teach them, to be someone that gets them not only what they're paying for, but teaches them to eventually fire you. Because training is one of the rare professions where if we succeed, we get fired. And I
Yeah.
wholeheartedly believe in that.
Ryan, I was actually thinking about that today. With making programs, like I have a couple clients and I'm like, all right, I think 3 months will do it for you. Like if you stay longer, it's just so that you make the appointment and you show up and you don't skip out on your training.
Yeah.
And it goes back to being honest. You have to be honest with yourself as a trainer and then the client. Um, there's a lot of people that need help out there, and if we approach them and we say, hi, my name is Julio, is it okay if I assist you in this? Most likely they're going to come back in a few weeks and be like, hey, I need some more help. Please help me out.
If you do the right thing, clients will always come, money will always come, the business will always grow. It might not be immediate, and sometimes that might feel that your character is getting in the way. But so long as you keep on that same credence of I will do the right thing and trust that the progress will come, I do believe success as a personal trainer will always happen. Dude, that's
Yeah.
again, I think we're jiving here in our philosophy. And Tyler, fantastic add-on to invite onto the show, my man.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
so
screw
far I'm
that.
very
Sell
impressed.
people packages, charge them out the gulag, tell them that they get their goal or they don't.
I used to
It's
know a
not
guy
my
that did
job.
that.
That's their job. Show up or don't, I still get paid.
Well, there's
Jesus.
also that side, that
Yeah,
that I see Tyler has a lot of confidence, and people like that, especially seeing you talk to members at Bay Club, either they're attracted to that and they want that coach that is confident also.
I've learned a lot of things about humbling myself too. When I actually was entering back into the fitness field, I was telling Ryan. Ryan is one of my peers. He's one of my good friends, and there's another buddy of ours, Aaron. He's kind of like in our three amigo groups, and both Ryan and him, they're far past where I am right now because I'm kind of backtracking to being a trainer back on. And I told them originally when I was coming to Bay Club, I was going to come in ground zero. I'm coming in humble to shadow other trainers to learn what it is to be back being in a training field, although I've got a lot of experience. And that's what I did, is I went in, I asked other trainers what they did. I kind of walked around. I really met, but the culture that was established at Bay Club wasn't quite, as challenging as I thought it'd be. And also, we get to run our own schedule there. So I really pushed to like be, who I am at the hardest, but I was hungry. So that's why I've led, and now I've been at the top, the last 2 months, and I'm only 7 months at being at Bay Club, but I've closed the most sessions now, and I'm at the top. But it was only because I came in humble at the original, and I still humble myself. I humbled myself today when I was talking to another one of our trainers, Rylan, and he was talking about body fat percentage. He's like, man, this person's got 37% body fat. And I was like, dude, 37%? What are they, like 400 pounds? He goes, you don't have to be 400 pounds to be 37%. And conceptually for me, since I don't specialize in weight loss, I'm a very performance athletic. I'm more of like, I describe a personal trainer as a posture correction specialist. So I'm actually going back to kind of get myself more involved with nutrition and understanding dietary stuff. I push people to Ryan for that. Even some people I even talked to today, like I think you probably got a DM from somebody that recently today I pushed off onto him.
Oh, that was
But
so random. Was not expecting that whatsoever. Just some random person, which ended up having a fantastic conversation with. By the
yeah,
way, like, ma'am, if you're out there, that was a high level conversation, and you were a great student.
yeah. But I humbled myself to understand, like, I didn't know what 37% was, and I was arguing with Rylan. I'm like, no, it can't conceptually be possible. I started looking up like pictures of what people look like with 37% body fat. I'm like, oh, like that's honestly, it's just they have a larger belly, and it's okay. I can kind of more visualize that. But for me, like if I think I'm wrong, I'm not gonna just say like I'm not gonna just argue my breath away. I'm gonna stop and be like, okay, let's find this out. And I'm gonna research and research and research. And if I'm wrong, I'll come back and say, dude, you're right. But like just recently on the floor, I was talking to an ex NBA basketball guy, Billy Reed. This dude was, tall, 6'5", and he was asking me about shoulder press. He actually came to approach me because he saw how I was training another person, and he's like, "Hey man, can you show me this thing?" And I was just like, "Oh yeah, yeah, cool." And he starts to introduce stuff. So he goes, "Yeah, I was previously a Warriors basketball player, pro," and I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome." But I don't change my stature. I don't get intimidated by anybody because I'm confident with who I am. And I was able to take, somebody who he's a coach now. He coaches all across the country. He's older, so he's got a lot of experience. And still, like, I'm not gonna look like to somebody like that and be like, oh, I'm lesser. There's definitely stuff I can learn, but yeah, the confidence comes from I know my level of skill. I will be humble, but I'm gonna approach you the same way that I'd approach a new client or I'd approach somebody else. It's people that, that's why I asked you to come on. It's people that don't look humble. You come onto the fitness floor as a new trainer and they're just like showboat, cocky, like I know everything and like, this is how things work and like, this is what training is. And like you don't give off any of that vibe, which I love that. Um,
Thank you. Thank
so
you.
that's my tangent. But okay, let's get this back to you. So one thing that Ryan and we go back and forth on because I love education in the sense of like being educated as a trainer. Where did you learn? Did you ever get like a NASM? Did you go to like college after? Like what was it like? How did you learn originally?
So I went to Santa Rosa Junior College, right? And from there, I went into the Coast Guard. And from there, I went into SF State, right? But none of it was related to fitness. In the Coast Guard, I was driving really fast boats with technical equipment, ready to keep the port safe. We
Who's
had
driving
to, and
fast boats?
yeah,
Love
fast
that.
boats, staying away from caffeine. Thankfully, nothing happened, so a lot of it was all training. And from then on, I knew I wanted to be my own boss eventually. And I knew I needed to do something, and fitness was something I always liked, teaching people. So I was fortunate enough to be a trainer at Fitness SF in Marin, and they taught me a lot of good knowledge, a lot of good mentors there. All the master trainers there are super nice. I keep in contact with a few, not that much so. Uh, but from there, it was kind of like a school for me to learn a lot. And eventually I decided to go on my own as an independent trainer. And I'm learning way more now. It's insane.
So now you're doing a lot on your own, but you're also with Bay Club. So what let's talk more about your business as it is today. So you're not just at Bay Club. What else that you do? What do you offer? This is also something like put this out as your ad right now. You're selling it to me and Ryan. Like, who are you? Where do you train? Like, how could somebody get a hold of you?
Oh yeah. So I teamed up with Andre Allen and Luciano. They are both owners at Trainers Elite. They're two guys that you guys have to meet. Uh, they're running a really good program for trainers and clients to work together out of Trainers Elite. And the address is 5068 Paradise Drive, Suite J, Puerto Madera, California. So what we do
Nice.
there is we specialize in, we get a client, we learn about them, and we create a program for them, and we make it so that we reserve a time for them where it's only client and trainer. The training studio, it's private, right? I find that you get the most out of your training that you're paying for when it comes to all the attention is about you.
Yeah.
Some cool models like that popping up more in the industry now, where I've seen some that are like that, where the entire studio is reservation only, and it's all right. You at most you might have like 2 trainers in there. It's kind of rare that you have one that has just a single trainer, a single client, which I imagine there's a lot of pros that come with that. Another one I've been seeing a lot more come up is almost like renting a chair in a hair salon.
Yeah.
So you'll have like a multi gym, like Force USA does something like that, similar to what I had back at the Onyx house, Tyler, that little all-in-one gym.
Yep.
And having something like that in a platform, and one trainer rents that platform in that all-in-one gym, they get that's theirs, and whether they're training there or not, it's still theirs, and kind of running that model. So it's cool. That's a really cool thing that you guys get to have that entire facility for yourself. I gotta ask the question: is how profitable of a business model is that?
It's very profitable.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it like that.
All right, good talk.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Going back to why I believe in this model is, the minute you wake up, as a client, I try to get in their perspective, right? They're thinking, all right, I got to get my kids to work. I got to make sure that, this errand, it gets done. Oh, wait, I don't have time to do it before my training session, but let me try to do it. Oh no, I'm late. I'm late to work. So with the training that you just get one-on-one and there's no outside noise, even on the drive to your session, you know what you're gonna get, and you know that the minute you walk in the door, it's gonna be like, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, thank you for coming in, and you don't have to deal with not getting the right parking spot. Everything that could come up, and the minute I see my client, I'm already assessing, are they stressed? Did they go out the night before? Do they have some problem that maybe they don't want to share with me? Like, how can we get their mindset to be for the workout, their session for the next 50 minutes? And I'm able to do it really good in an environment where it's all about them.
Okay, so more of a concierge, like a almost like a private gym with a private coach. They get a very one-on-one kind of, we'll say, a unique experience that's kind of tailored to them, but allows them to have consistency, where they're not having to really worry about a whole lot of other things. It clears the noise from the plate, so to speak.
Yeah. Now, working with Bay Club, I'm trying, and it's working out, where I go above and beyond, and I'll say, thank you so much for making it today. This is your time, and let's make it about you. and that you can just see their attitude change, a little bit more happy, a little bit more open to the workout. And then we go on the floor and it could be busy, and I'm like, we're gonna make some space for you. Let's make some real estate, and let's guard it. Let's make it ours. And that's a good attitude that I'm noticing that my clients in Bay Club are enjoying.
I like it,
Yeah.
man.
That's because we got to fight for a little bit of the room with these kids. Man, summertime, Bay Club is a whole different environment. Yeah, you're not guaranteed a parking lot. It's like, get yourself to the back. You better half jog it because it might be a 5-minute wait. Um,
I'm always parking my car very far from every car.
oh my God. I walked out today and I honestly forgot where I
Yeah,
parked because I walked in that building at 7 a.m. and I didn't walk out till 5. So,
yeah,
that's great. That's a great philosophy, great experience. This is why, dude, you're just blowing me away with all your answers just coming in. And like, I already knew, like, I can pretty much catch up on a vibe. And that's why I told Ryan, I'm like, dude, I got somebody. He's solid. He's like,
yeah.
nice, dude. I trust you. And I'm
Thank you.
like, yeah, I don't know him too well, but I guarantee it's going to be great conversation. And it's just, we keep saying it's just been blowing us away, dude.
Yeah.
Love that.
Eh,
Love that for your clients. I
Thank,
like that you say, like,
thank you
this is
guys.
our space and we're going to guard it. Like, we're going to guard our equipment. This is our dumbbells. This is our home. Like, this is like, I feel like you should like add like a kick in there. We are Spartans.
Yeah, because you got to keep your clients' attention too, and if they're super focused,
Yeah.
they stop hearing you. So you got to throw a little bit of humor in there, so then they snap out of it, and then they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm enjoying my time."
Yeah.
Because they want to learn everything, but we that's what we're there for.
So I've heard a lot of your pit or your successes, right? We got a really good story. We see a lot of things. I want to know, where has been your pitfalls? Where have you ever been so down and out of training, like all your clients have left and you're like stuck in a situation? Because you know how it is as a trainer. Like we're relying on people to renew sessions or renew their training. And some months slip, or, sometimes it can be a little bit tough. So have you ever experienced, a moment where you're like questioning, man, am I doing the right thing? Like, is this for me? Or like, or were you ever like in a low state of mind that you had to pull yourself out of that you can remember?
Oh man, as a trainer, you go into every session with 120%, because you give them the other percentages so they can walk out 100%, you know. So there's a lot of resetting throughout the whole day with every client, but a lot of that has to go with, just taking some time throughout my day, and just sitting there for 15 minutes. You could call it self-reflection, meditation, or just down regulating. And just knowing that it's a fast paced, if environment, if you have 8 clients that day, or even 3 back to back, uh,
Yeah.
but the biggest pit that I fell into was during COVID. I didn't work for 10 months, and that honestly made me feel like I lost my identity. I
Mm.
I forgot who I was. I was trying to, I would wake up and I'm like, am I still a personal trainer? Like, is this really me? Like, I don't feel like it. Um, and I just didn't feel like I was able to connect with people through Zoom training, through, like writing programs for them. Like I need contact. I need to feel that, they believe in the training. So that was a hard time. I hope we never go through it again. Yeah, mental health was definitely tested during those times.
I like that, man. That's one of the things that I tell people all the time is, being a trainer is not what I do for work, it's who I am. Like, I'm reaching the end of what will be my training career right now, and I'm kind of struggling with, will I let go of that identity once that's kind of done and I'm on to doing the next thing? And yeah, kind of hearing you talk about that, it's plucking at the heartstrings a little bit. Like, it's a very, very sensitive topic for me, because becoming a trainer was the thing that gave me my identity, that took me from a very, very dark place and went like, no, 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 you have a purpose. You have an identity, something you can work at and be good at. So yeah, hearing you talk about it being your identity is a special little place for me. Have
Yeah.
you ever struggled with that being your identity, like that being a little too much? I know I have.
That's a good question. You know, the way I would struggle is taking on too much because I just want to make it happen. I want to be the guy that's like, all right, today I'm gonna have 10 sessions. We're gonna get it done. And at the end, I'm gonna say mission accomplished. And I did it. You know, and nobody has to give me a pat on the back. Nobody has to know. I'm just gonna be like, all right, let's do it again. You know?
And
Yep.
sitting out in your car, for an hour going, oh, I need to drive home still. All right, this was probably a little too much today. All right, maybe I do
Yeah.
9 sessions tomorrow.
Right. But
Shed
yeah,
a
so
tear.
so they're really, it's either all and let's keep going kind of attitude.
Yeah.
I like it,
Yeah.
man. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry for hitting you with a little emotional question there. That was like
No, that's
hearing someone
good.
talk about training being their identity. I'm like, I am struggling a lot with that right now. I have
And,
questions.
and Ryan, it's something that COVID kind of like brought out of me, and there were times I would just sleep. I didn't even go to the gym because I didn't feel like I could, be the person that I was like months before the shutdown happened. So for me, it's something that I'm like, man, what's going to happen when I decide to leave this profession? And when is the right time to leave so that I can, you know, hit the books and study something else? Um, yeah, it's going to happen.
It will. I
Yeah.
do believe that. Oh, I'm not necessarily going to say I do believe, because there are the rare type of person that in their like late 50s still training, and it's like you are a hero. How like I've been doing this for 14 years, and I'm like, the shoulder hurts a little bit, the back's a little shot. Like, this is a rough
Right.
profession, man. It's like working construction. Oh
Yeah.
That's
man.
right.
I
So
want to
no,
bring a question about your client basis. Like, our clients, like their experiences, like our experience is way heavy for ourselves. But sometimes they're like, a client's experience or what they're going through, like a weight loss journey or like not achieving something can be like very bearing on your like demographic. And it seems like you're a very heartfelt person. Like you really pour your emotions into this. Have you ever like, is there like a situation or a client that maybe sparks in your memory that was like one of the like a very heartbreaking or very challenging scenario for you emotionally to kind of go through or with?
oh yeah, dude, it definitely was. There was a couple, and I just gotta take a few breaths in for that one. Uh, I had a guy, a client, very, very nice. Um, he became a friend, and he actually ended up passing away between one of the sessions that we were supposed to see each other.
Mm,
And for the longest time, I thought that if I would have just scheduled him in before, I could have stopped it. Um, and so, with that, I've just been kind of carrying it over the years, and I had to realize that the time that I spent with my client, after the workouts, we go get a salad, or a burger if he really wanted it. Um, it was those moments that really made me feel like it's not just about training in the gym. It goes above and beyond, and that's the reward to
yeah,
be able to be someone's friend.
I like that,
that's
man.
huge.
I
That's
Yeah.
think it
huge.
was Aaron that had a really good Aaron Saltzman had a really good conversation about that, with
Yeah,
you becoming the voice of discipline for them. That little voice in their head that tells them when they're going to do something bad, or like they're going to break their diet, or they're going to skip a workout, and they hear your voice in their head, And it's like, it might be that they haven't trained with you in a year, but they still hear that voice going, no, this is not what we're doing. We're going to go do that thing. And I think that's another level of that, is getting to a place where you do have that deep interpersonal relationship, which I have some conflicting opinions personally with that, but I do respect it. And I do believe that certain clients really do need to have that type of almost like very personable, open heart kind of moment with their trainer sometimes. That's cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I feel like even we need a coach, we need a trainer, we need that feeling too. So someone to be like, hey, that wasn't cool. Get back in here. Everybody needs it.
I've cared about people that I honestly I didn't even work with. Like right now, I have a kid I actually was gonna work with for strength conditioning. Supposed to be going to a 4 year, and his mom approached me and wanted his son to learn better squat technique. And I was like, oh yeah, definitely. Like let me talk to him. Let me spoke with him. He was in season as an athlete, and then he got hurt. And I reached out to his mom. I was like, hey, like when were you thinking about working? He's like, oh, my son got hurt, and I was like, oh my God, like that was last week. I reached out and I reached out again and I hadn't heard back, but I like even texted him like, hey, I know I might not be working with your son. I understand he's hurt, but like, is he okay? So like
Yeah.
we do become like very, very personal with people. Like I have not experienced, I'm so sorry to hear about your client, but like I have a client who's 88 years old and he comes to the gym, he still pushes and he pushes hard. But I asked him like personally, I said, hey man, with your age and what you got going on, you can always have like an emergency situation. I know we're going to be working together for the ongoing future. Can I just have your emergency contact or who's close to you, so if you don't show up I can call them? And it's just that's a safety net for me, and I don't do that with a lot of people. But he's 88 and he's really pushing hard. If he didn't show up, and like if I called and he didn't pick up, I'd be very worried. And I'm calling that emergency contact because it's not just to drag him into the gym. It's like, hey, dude, like I just want to make sure you're okay.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
that's huge, man.
Well, I do want to divot into some more challenging questions, because we are trying to educate people, trying to more kind of break it down on how to be the best trainer you can be and people that are interested in training. So I want to ask, when have you failed? I know that's a really, really, really hard and cruddy question to ask, but I do think it is something that as trainers, we are supposed to be the voice of reason, the person that is always right. We know the right thing to do. But as you all know, and anyone that's done this for more than 5 seconds will know, we are wrong relatively often, and we have to kind of take that humble pie. When have you failed a client in that mind?
Probably in some stage where I just didn't have my head right, and I was rescheduling a lot. And it's hard to tell the client what's going on in personal life, because you kind of like want to make it known to them that, hey, I got my life together, and let me lead you with yours through exercise. So that's been kind of like an area in the past where I've been like, man, I just can't go in this week. I have to deal with my own health. So that's when I feel like I failed them and myself.
Letting your personal life kind of bleed over more into your professional is kind of what I'm taking away from that. Is that right?
Exactly. That's right. Yep.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I know I can speak to that, and I'm pretty sure Tyler can speak to it probably even better than I can. But that is something that I've struggled with a lot, with kind of coming off of dealing with some personal stuff and letting that kind of bleed over. I think that's a really common thing in training. I mean, Tyler, any add-ons you want to do for that one?
I'm a,
He's like,
I'm
he's got a whole list.
yeah, I got a huge list. I'm a recovered alcoholic. So, I mean, during the hours when I was like just graduating college and going into like personal training, like I was a drinker, I'd have fun. I was smoking pot. I didn't see a career in fitness originally. Honestly, I just graduated college and I got a DUI right when I got out. The first week out with my 4-year degree, I was gonna go to San Diego, maybe go into like the Navy as an officer. Boom, slapped with a DUI. A month later, my family broke apart. I was living with my brother, working for my stepdad. Shit went down. All of a sudden, we're out on our feet. We didn't have a home. Shut down. Then I went back to live with my grandpa. Then I was living there. And of course, I started working out really hard, gave myself a hernia, couldn't work out, hit hard. So I ended up recovering from a hernia, had a DUI, had no focus in life, and I was busting tables at the end of it. By the end of the summer, I was busting tables at some place, and I fell into the personal training field. I honestly just fell back on my degree and was like, "Oh, let's get a job at 24 Hour. Let's go work at Sonoma Fit, which is a gym in my hometown." So my failures as like being the coach, there was so many times that I just didn't show up mentally. Like I'm there, I'm running people through sessions, but I wasn't tracking progress. I wasn't like really caring about the people. I was selling packages and just trying to make ends meet and just, continue making enough money so I can go drink on the weekends and just have fun. And by the time it hit Monday, like there'd be days I'd sleep past my alarm and just would be so embarrassed to make those phone calls that I just, wouldn't even show up for the rest of the day, that I just text people and be like, "Oh, I'm sick." And it bled through my life until finally I kind of hit that point where I couldn't handle it anymore. But it took me a lot of years. I mean, there's so many amends or like people that I had to like kind of sucker up to all the time. Like, and it's taken me a long time to kind of become who I am now. But yeah, like when you fail somebody, like it sucks. Like we go through it. We definitely go through those emotional downs. But it's good to have a community, right? We have these people now that like care and rely on us, and now I'm older and I can understand it more. It's up to us to be those guys, like the guys that were at your first gym, or the guys that were like influenced Ryan at his first gym, or my first people. To just grab a hold of them and be like, "Hey, like here's our knowledge. Here's what we have. Like this is what you can do," and like I try to help them. And that's why I feel like everybody at a certain point, like if they are a really good trainer, eventually they become a trainer of trainers. They are a guru. They are somebody that somebody goes to for advice or help. That's like the culture that Hector, really our fitness manager kind of distilled to me. And like, it sucks that he's out right now with what he's got going on. He's got his own personal thing, but he is somebody who I look at as like a fitness figure and who I want to become. So you give off a lot of that type of vibe as well, my man.
Thank you guys. So do you, both of you.
Awesome. All right. No, that's yeah, sorry to put you kind of on the spot there with that one. I know that was kind of a rabbit hole for both of you guys to kind of go down. But I just think it's such an important thing that we don't talk about enough in training is our failings, because
Yeah.
we need to be confident and people need to be confident in us. So that's
All
cool.
right, let's end on one positive though. We've gotten so deep, and we're all positive people. We have to be high energy. This is who we are. All
Yeah,
right.
but how often do three trainers get to talk about life like this, you know?
So yeah, it's true. It's true. You'll have
Yeah.
to come on one of our trips, man. Our
Yeah,
our our
I'd be
pod
happy
could
to.
use another. Here's what I want to end with. All right, because we're coming up on that hour. What is one of your favorite success stories? What's something that's like, man, this is my stamp. This has got the Julio approval. Like this is the client that I would brag about to the end of the moon. And I know there's like many of them, but is there somebody that like really sticks out in your head? You're like, this person, I really shaped and changed their life. And if they were to say anything wrong about it, I would text their grandmother and be like, hey, you need to tell them that that's not cool. I don't know.
Oh man, it's a long list, you know. If I was to single out someone, I think I'd have a lot of text messages being like, "What about me, dude?
What about me?
What about me, dude? What the hell?" Um, but there's one story that kind of happened around the time where my client who he passed away,
Yeah.
um, and this other client I was able to help out in a different way where he was being bullied at school. and he was on medication for something that would, help him learn. And he was also kind of trying to figure out his identity of who was he was attracted to, his choice, of preference. So I took it upon myself to be his coach, his friend, and just kind of build his self-esteem up to the point where he told me one day, hey, thanks to you, I've reduced taking my medication. I'm really enjoying fitness, and I applied to college, and I'm looking forward to it. We talked, for a few semesters afterwards, and totally different attitude towards life. I feel like he was going into some deep depression, and I was able to pull him out of it and be like, hey, let's shape you into the person you want to be. So that's someone that helped me get through the passing of my client in that time.
Dude, that's awesome. Moments like those victories. And I think a lot of people would probably assume a trainer's big victories are like the big weight loss, or getting someone to lift the big weight, or, have the body, Yeah, I mean, those are cool, and those kind of come and go. But I think the biggest ones that we carry around, and are the things that kind of get us through those hard times, are the people that we truly impact our life. Like your guy there. I mean, sounds like he was on a pathway that was not going to have a very, very good end. And you got him put on a pathway that, hey, I struggle to see how that guy's not going to have an amazing life. Like, that's so cool.
I can actually picture him smiling if I close my eyes.
Dude, that's so cool. I'm a bleeding heart for stuff like that, and like the long-term impacts, and how we can really change someone's life. So I love stuff like that, man.
Yeah. And then on the other side of people who hit their PRs, they hit their PRs, they're able to run a little bit faster, they get in the best shape of their life. I mean, those are all celebrations that I tell them, yo, this is a big day for you. Go out, take a walk, go treat yourself to a really nice dinner, go tell your family, tell them what you just did today. This is your day. So that's also the other side.
Record a video, post it on social media, make sure you tag it in me, and, tell all your friends. Yeah, I got you. Picking up what you're putting down. It's okay.
Yeah.
God.
Little shameless plug. I got you. I'm totally kidding. I'm dirtying a very pure moment.
I had to bring it up. There you go.
All right. Well, kind of summarizing, kind of coming to an end. I don't know about you guys. I'm freaking hungry too. But what if anything is there anything that we missed that's maybe personal to you that you were thinking that you wanted to kind of touch on, or kind of talk about, or you want to kind of give us kind of a closing memoir, or and for the Memoirs of a Fitness Trainer podcast, this is what I want to kind of lay out to everybody.
Find your trainer, find your coach. You guys are going to connect, and your coach should have attention to detail, and that is you. And if you believe in your trainer, he's going to believe in you more. And trust the process. Yes, it can be expensive, but it's an investment, and you have to do it in order to live a good, healthy life.
We're for sure gonna have this guy back on, because he makes me feel like a piece of crap. Honestly, because I'm dude, he's so wholeheartedly about everything that he says. I feel like such a douche. You're beautiful. You're awesome. This is great. It's been great getting to know you a lot more as a coworker.
At
Thanks,
least you're
guys.
still real bubbly about the whole thing. I'm in the later years of my training career, I'm jaded and worn. I'm oh God, these fucking clients.
Ryan's gonna do another 10 years. Watch.
Oh, I know.
He's gonna do another 10 years. He just doesn't want to admit it.
By the way, Ryan's birthday is today too. Happy birthday.
What? Feliz cumpleaños, man.
32. I'm getting old, but I still feel very young.
Dude, you got a long way to go. You can't give up on training yet.
No, I'm switching to completely online and teaching trainers to run online models and kind of doing things like that. So still very much plan on working in fitness and doing that, but more as a force multiplier than say an individual contributor, that whole sort of thing.
There
His
you
legs are
go.
just getting tired. He likes sitting on his ass, so he's gonna get closer to his laptop.
Dude, I still get like 20,000 steps a day. It's stupid.
Old man.
Like,
Hey man, I got a pillow back here to keep me up. Keep me up.
Yeah, pillow club.
you guys never heard of it having an ergonomical chair? They make
Dude, I
chairs
got
for
a-
this.
I got a couch, baby. What do you want?
Hey, I got these
Dude.
fancy chairs that don't provide too much comfort.
Dude, I can have somebody sitting right here, like right here. Like, what's up?
Yeah.
I'm
What's
gonna
up?
clip that. We're gonna make a GIF out of that.
What's
yeah.
up? It's like, hey baby, what's up?
All right.
What trainers
Ryan.
really do in their spare time? Yeah.
Wrap
Tyler's
it.
hungry. He's getting grouchy.
Oh, there you go.
All right,
got-
there, Julio. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, my man. We're gonna go ahead and link all your stuff down below. Give Julio a check out. He is a whiz. We barely scratched the surface on this guy's knowledge throughout this episode today. We will for sure have him back on. But this has been an absolutely fantastic episode. I love you. I know they love you, and we'll check you guys here in the next one. Cheers.
Oh yeah, guys, let's do this.